Hey guys, I wanted to take a few minutes to go over your clinical paperwork with you because it causes so much anxiety with the students. Once we finish this, you should have no questions. So please, I'm asking you, please do not email me and ask me questions that probably were answered here. If you don't watch the video and email me and ask me a question, I'm going to tell you to go back and look at the video, okay? All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go into Canvas and I'm going to go under our modules for Nursing 3335. And I'm going to go into most of the assignments for you guys to look at. Now, when you look at them tomorrow, all of these are not going to be posted because I'm making updates to some of them, but the majority of them will be. So what I want you to do is to follow along. I want you to take away the key points. And then if you have any questions when we come to class on Monday, you can certainly ask me those questions. Okay? All right, let's get started. I am already on Canvas and I clicked on to our Nursing 3335 course. The first thing that I did, or the first thing that I'm going to do, is I'm going to go under, or I went under the modules section. Under the modules section is where you're going to find all of your instructions. Okay, under the assignments slot, you're going to find also the dates that these things are due, as well as for a lot of them, you're going to upload whatever paperwork that you have to do here. Okay, so assignments is where you're going to upload for the most part, and modules is going to be where all of your instructions are. Okay, so the first thing that you see at the top of here is you see clinical groups. You're going to see clinical groups, clinical contacts, clinical paperwork, and how to format journals. You're going to see these 4 categories. Right now, you're not going to see anything under clinical groups because I haven't posted that, but you will see clinical contacts and addresses of the facilities. When you click on that, just like you've been doing in Canvas, you can look at them and it's going to have all the information that you're going to need. It's going to have your directions on how to get there. It's going to have who you need to contact. All of those things are right here. So you don't have to email me. Now, typically speaking, you will be reporting at 8:30 in the morning for all of your experiences, unless your instructor indicates otherwise. Okay? All right. So there's your instructions. Your clinical groups, your clinical paperwork overview recorded, that's where this that we're doing right now will be. The last thing that is new that I wanted to show you guys, because I really do want you to do well, and I'm not going to lie. I want to make it as easy for myself as possible. One thing that really helps teachers is to not have to guess what point in a rubric that a student is trying to address. So let's look at this for a second. Hopefully you can see this. Okay, this is your grading criteria, or your rubric is the other name for your Pike Adult and your Pike Child journals. Okay, we are probably not going to do Pike Adult, but I'm just using this because it's an easier one. So you notice that in each one of these it says there's a point that you have to cover and that is worth so many points, up to 50 points. So discuss the purpose, list the axes 1 through 5, describe your reaction, provide at least each one of these. So what I tell students is, don't make me guess. So when you start to write your journal, put your heading up here and say, discuss the purpose of the role of the physician, nurse, or therapist in client care. A lot of students will just copy and paste and put it right here. And underneath that, you're going to put all your information. You do that with each one of these so that I don't have to guess, are they talking about the diagnoses, or are they talking about the nursing journal? What are they talking about? Makes it much easier. And you do this not just for your journals, but do this for your papers. Look at your grading criteria. That's why we give you criteria, is so that you have something to go by. Now, one thing I do want to mention about the journals is that on most of these nursing criteria, or most of these journals, you're going to see that it says provide at least one nursing journal article to support your findings and to tell how it supports it. So in other words, you don't just pull a random nursing journal article. When you are writing your journal, just like you would in a paper, you're going to tell me how that journal article applies to whatever it is that you're saying, and you're going to cite it. Okay? All right. So that's one important thing. It'll make your life, and I'm not going to lie, it'll make my life a lot easier too. All right. The second thing you see is the clinical calendar or the rotation schedule. All you're going to see is the heading for this right now, but I will be putting the clinical, in fact, I can do that. The clinical calendar directions will be available to you now, but your clinical calendar for this semester is not there yet. I don't want to confuse you guys too much, but on Monday, you will see January's clinical schedule up underneath here, as well as in Microsoft Teams. But again, we'll talk about that more, but this is where that's going to go. Your clinical attendance form. You will need a signed clinical attendance form for each one of your clinical experiences. You must get it signed and you must turn it in to me the following Monday after your experience. So even if you have an experience Friday, you're going to turn that in on Monday. Or I may go ahead and put a place for you guys to upload your attendance form, okay? All right, and there's the form itself. Your clinical attendance form, that's just the overview in the first one. The second one is the form itself. All right, you're going to have 2 acute care days, clinical or acute care day number 1 and acute care day number 2. If you will go under the initial subheading here, you will see an explanation or an overview of what you're going to be doing at this clinical, okay? It also says that this is the paperwork that you will need, okay? All paperwork for this experience is to be submitted within 5 days following the experience, and that includes weekends, okay? 5 days. That is for every single thing that you're going to do unless we indicate otherwise. So make sure that you're reading the overview, okay? All right, so there's all your forms. And then there's usually, I put some extra additional help with that. Remember that for doing a concept map in psych is going to be very different than doing one in adult health. Okay, so you're going to do your concept map on acute care day number 1. Acute care number 2, you're going to do your care plan. So same thing. Underneath here, it's going to tell you exactly what you're going to be doing. It's going to give you your paperwork, and you're going to go into assignments and you're going to upload this when you get ready, when you finish it, okay? Additionally, at your second acute care, you are going to turn in your summative clinical evaluation tool. Many of you will be turning it into Miss Meadows. Some of you will be turning it into Miss Butler, and some of you will be turning it into myself. So you will turn these in, you self-evaluate. So you're going to go through and you're going to look at each one of the points. You're going to grade yourself, and then you're going to turn it into us. We're going to sign it, and we will keep it, okay? They are all going to be turned into me. So if you don't have one of these done at the end of the semester, you're going to get an incomplete. So do not forget to do that with your acute care day number 2 paperwork, okay? All right, Pike Adult, which I said we may or may not do this semester. I think I have enough clinical hours so we won't have to, but I am keeping it in my back pocket just in case. And we really already talked about this, okay? All of these under the modules is pretty much the paperwork that you're gonna need and an overview. All right, so Pike Adult. It tells you where you need to go. It tells you and it gives you your grading criteria for your journals. Okay, so here's your grading criteria. We already looked at this, right? So we pop this up and we see, here it is. Okay, this is all of our grading criteria. And it tells us exactly what I want to know. This journal should only be 2 pages in length. Okay, easy peasy, right? Okay, so that is the Pike Adult Day Treatment. Okay, moving on to Walter Street and Magnolia Wood Residential Clinical Day. Again, this is another experience that you will be attending. Now, a lot of the experiences for psych are done in small groups of 2 to 3 people. The only ones that you will be doing your whole clinical group for will be your acute care days in the hospital. But your Pike Adult or your Walter Street, your mental health first aid, your concept analysis paper, and your hearing voices simulation, most of these will be done in smaller groups. Okay, so the only one that you're going to be doing your big group for are your acute care days and your teaching project. Okay, all right, so I digress. Walter Street, Magnolia Wood Residential. Again, there's your certificate of clinical attendance. Here's your grading criteria for the journal. And here's your explanation of what you're going to be doing or what you're going to expect to see there. Okay. Mental health first aid training. You will go in groups of 11 for this experience. This is a wonderful experience that will also enable you to become certified as a mental health first aid provider. Looks great on your resumes. So you will attend this. There is absolutely nothing to do for this as far as paperwork. You just have to be there. But what you do have to do is you must upload your certificate in Canvas. If you do not do that, you will not get credit for that, okay? So it's under assignments, and it tells you that, okay? All right, several of you will be starting. In fact, I have 2 groups going this week, and I will post that this weekend. All right. Your concept analysis paper. Your concept analysis paper will be done in groups of 4. And your concept analysis paper is taking a movie with a mental health theme like Split or Gone Girl or one of your choosing, if you like. So under this, of course, you're going to see the grading criteria and the guidelines to complete this paper. Under the assignments, it's going to tell you exactly what day it is due. There's a movie assignment list. If there is a movie that you want to do that I do not have on this list, that is fine, but you must get permission first. Okay? Your peer evaluation form. You're going to do an evaluation on each person in your group. We all love group work, but there's always going to be somebody that's not going to do what they need to. So that is your opportunity to be able to evaluate them. You're going to upload them, so nobody in the group is going to see that. You must have one, okay? And then, of course, the last one, which I'm going to click off of this because we don't have that yet, is going to be the list of whoever your partners are for this particular assignment. Hearing voices and poverty simulation. These are simulations that you're going to attend. Hearing voices is going to simulate what it is like to have schizophrenia, hearing voices. Okay, so again, here's your overview. Here is your simulation document, which is basically your grading criteria. So it will tell you exactly what it is that we're looking for. Now, the hearing voices simulation, we do actually, because it's just a journal and it's a simple one, basically just talking about your experience. This one we actually do want turned in within a 24-hour turnaround, okay? So, but again, you're not gonna be able to actually see these quite yet because I'm actually redoing them right now, okay? But you know what they're for. Poverty simulation, I get asked a lot, or at least initially I did. What does poverty have to do with mental health? A lot. Okay, individuals that come from very low socioeconomic or low educational status backgrounds oftentimes get very poor jobs. They live in very poor neighborhoods. They struggle with being able to make ends meet. They work in areas that, especially during times like now with COVID, that they're not essential and they wind up losing their jobs. They wind up being homeless, and almost 50% of people that are homeless also have mental illness. What kind of mental illness do you think? Depression is a big one. Anxiety is a big one. Why? Because if you don't have money to feed your family, you're going to have a lot of stress about that, right? Okay, so that's the poverty simulation. You will enjoy that too. We actually will do this with 5th semester. Most students really like this. And we'll be doing them both on the same day, or we're going to try to. We'll be doing hearing voices in the morning and then the poverty simulation in the afternoon, most likely. Okay. All right. And then the last thing is going to be your teaching project. So East Central Mental Health, which is an outpatient community program where we see clients, also has a residential facility. And at the residential facility, these individuals live there all the time. Many of them have been there for years. So your teaching project, which is going to be your whole group, you guys will be picking a topic. I'll have some suggestions for you. You'll be picking a topic and you're going to develop using your grading criteria and looking over your teaching project overview, an actual teaching project that you are going to do for those individuals. You're going to record this. So one person in your group is going to either use an iPad or a camcorder. Please do not use your phones. It's very difficult for me to be able to see them. So you will do that. You can do skits if you want to. You can do activities with them that you want to. Be creative. Remember that these individuals don't get a whole lot of outside socialization. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too. Okay. So the last thing that you need to remember about the teaching project, again, is that peer evaluation form. You need to make sure that you fill out that peer evaluation form. So you're going to have two. One for your teaching project and then one for your group paper that you're going to do. You're going to upload them. You've got to do that or you will get an incomplete. We have to have all of those things. Okay, that is going through every last thing that we've got to do for assignments in this class. So again, yours is going to look a little different than mine does because I'm showing you the teacher. But remember that on some of these that we talked about, especially the last few, I'm changing the requirements and the grading criteria in here. So I'll post that and I'll open them up as we get time. Okay. I hope that that has been helpful for you. I hope that you are following along. I hope that you were maybe taking some notes. The biggest thing to remember about clinical and doing your paperwork is just put some effort into it. I do look at every single assignment that you guys have. I do make sure that you have covered all of the points. Students that lose points on their assignments, it's simply because they don't read the grading criteria and they don't follow it. Maybe if you can set it up the way that I showed you to on that very first slide or at the very beginning, I guess, if you can set it up that way, you will have much better success. Any questions that you may have about this, please let me know on Monday when we have class. And again, if you will, help me remember on Monday that we'll talk about teams. You guys are going to be doing some self-scheduling for your clinicals. Although it caused some anxiety last semester, I have to tell you, I really thought that it was a good thing. This is a different semester for you guys. You guys were kind of handheld and you were treated a little bit like babies last semester. And I'm letting you out of the nest this semester. Bear with me, ask questions. I'm perfectly fine with that. But please make sure before you bombard me with questions that you watch this. And you should be expecting to have a quiz on this. I'm not going to tell you what, but of course, I want you to watch this. I will put it up there for the whole semester. So if you have questions throughout the semester, of course, you can refer back to it. I appreciate your time and I'm looking forward to this semester and getting to work with you. Have a great night. Bye.